I'm Justin Six, and this is the Free Flow Talks podcast, and I'm here with my friend Tim Ruswick, who you might know from his YouTube channel, Game Dev Underground, where he provides insight for indie devs, as he is an indie dev himself, recently releasing Philophobia, a platformer about his heartbreak from a time past, on Valentine's Day. Welcome, Tim.
Thanks for having me.
It's good to have you. Are you excited to be an exclusive first member of this podcast?
I can't wait to talk about stuff. I like talking.
So I know you got into game dev kind of recently. Like, when did you start? Like 4 years ago?
So I was making games. I Googled how to make games when I was like 12. And got inspired by Halo. Spent a couple years doing that. Built a bunch of prototypes in high school. I made a couple weird games, but then, I got out of it for like 10 years. Ended up starting a marketing company.
How was that?
And then that was, marketing it gets a bad rap, especially in the indie dev community, okay?
People don't like marketing.
No, and they do, okay. Tim's a filthy marketer now, watch. But, okay, I actually like marketing a lot.
I like it
I like
too.
the psychology of it. Right. So marketing is this unique thing where you have to understand psychology and sociology to be any good at marketing at all. You have to have empathy for another human being, because if you don't understand another human being, how could you possibly make them buy something from you if you don't understand them?
Yep.
That's why you see a lot of tone deaf marketing out there. You see a lot of stuff that you just laugh at because they're bad marketers that don't understand their audience, that try and just push shit on people. So I really liked the psychology and the sociology aspect of what do I got to say to get this person to buy something. That being said, it crushed my soul when I took on clients that I didn't believe in their product. Right?
Yeah.
If they're pushing some weight loss supplement that is
Doesn't work.
stupid or doesn't work, and then my job is to like target a demographic like an insecure female type of in a demographic in their early 20s, and I have to sell this stupid supplement to these people based on insecurity marketing, right? Like, that's shitty. And that is what I hated about marketing, and it gave me a lot of anxiety. Yeah. And one of the things that I realized later is I could just not take those clients. I could just say, hey, no, we're not going to work out, rather than just take all the clients. Like, I thought if someone gives you money, you
have to do it. It's money.
I thought that's how business worked, but it turns out that's not how business works, and you can say no, and I should have done that. But it ended up selling the company, and then did what I always wanted to do as a little kid and started making video games.
And that's when you started work on Philophobia, or a little bit
So
later?
actually, Philophobia started while I was still in my marketing company, because like the last 6 months I kind of mentally checked out of it.
Yeah.
I had so much anxiety. I hated it so much. And at that point, like I had a partner for like the last 2 years, because we kind of merged companies. I met this guy that had done a bunch of media stuff for like Lexus and Scion, and he actually did the Dodge Challenger commercial, and I drove a Dodge Challenger at that point in time. So I was like, hey, that's cool. So I had a partner. Like, I couldn't just like stop. Like, I had a lot of people that relied on me at that point. But I had like mentally checked out. Like, just, I'm just going to go through the motions. The hamster
It takes
wheel.
a little bit to check out completely, like physically, because you have to sort out everything, so you don't just like up and leave everybody and everything.
Yeah, and like we were having problems. We had creative differences as well, and then so I started messing around. I downloaded a bunch of engines. I tried a bunch of stuff because I was kind of searching. Like, I felt empty.
Is that when you found Not Unity?
Not Unity. Yeah, I downloaded Unity because that was all the rave at the time, and
it still is.
The good old game engine Unity took me 8 hours to get a damn ball rolling across the screen. And it pissed me off so much that I was like, this engine sucks. And I would rather like hard code an Android app from scratch than like stick in. It was horrible back then.
Considering I've tried to do that, the whole hard code and Android app, like, damn, you really hated it.
No, it was like, it didn't make any sense. The tutorial was dumb. It was literally a ball rolling sideways that took me 8 hours. And then I downloaded a bunch of stuff. Like there was a thing called Game Salad. There's a Game Maker. There was and then I found Construct 2, which is like this drag and drop HTML game maker type of thing. And I got the same platformer running in under 10 minutes. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, 8 hours
let's
for
do
a ball or like, I can't.
That's what it was. And like I was super busy at that point in time too. I didn't have the time to fuck around. So 8 hours on me spending that on that shit was like, it pissed me off. But then Construct, and then actually that prototype was probably built in that 6-month period where I was really unhappy. And then on top of that major breakup just made me
also happen around then, I guess.
Yeah, hate my life, go through a major traumatic event, searching for things that I enjoyed as a child, because I found, like, I even started playing Yu-Gi-Oh again, and I went to like Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments and stuff, which felt kind of weird because I felt like an adult at that point. But I mean, it
pushed you to like look for something else.
Yeah, I was searching. Like I wanted my soul back. I felt inhuman. I felt I rip people off for a living, kind of, in a way. Like don't get me wrong, I had some good clients. I had some people that I helped. I had like so many people that I helped build businesses from scratch, and like I made a lot of good, but you don't pay attention to the good when you're in a negative mindset. You know, you look at
your RES, selective focus, just focuses on the bad.
Yeah, and it was like hyper focus on like. I just remember I had this one client. It was the supplements thing that just like they would call me every day. They would like say they would like tell me how to do my job, but then pay me to do, like, why aren't you just doing it yourself if you want to micromanage everything that I'm doing?
Yeah.
And then on top of that, it was like literally their marketing was based around the insecurity of 20-something chicks on Instagram. Like that's how they sold shit. And I was just like,
terrible.
Yeah, like fuck, man, you're literally making money off of that stuff. And it's
don't even understand how anyone like sustainably micromanages. Because when I was 16, 15, I was managing like a team of 20 people, just amateur like game making. And I was like, it was my first time, like I had never had a job at this point. I had never really worked with like a massive amount of people like this. So I was a terrible manager, and I micromanaged so hard, and it killed me. It is so much work to micromanage. It's the worst management style.
It's not only does it get less done, not only is it super hard, but like the more you do it, the more people hate you for it, the less they want to work with you. They feel like they lose their freedom and
builds resentment.
Yeah, and you just end up with such a worse product as a result.
Or no product, as was my case.
Yeah, there you go. I think that's probably the average is the no product. Because you look at the majority of businesses actually have managers that they think that what they call management is micromanaging, when that's not the case. You gotta learn what, like, that's another thing too, is like in the whole marketing company having to like, I always thought like when you hire somebody, they're like a robot. This is your job, you do the robot over and over again. But like I realized like these are human beings. They have flaws, they have strengths, they have things that they're better at than other people. They have ways that they communicate,
dreams.
Yeah, exactly. And it is a job all in itself to learn how do I get the best work out of this person, at the same time make this person the most happy, because people do their best work when they're happiest.
Yeah, definitely.
Too.
And like
so that was
aligning your goals with theirs, I feel, is the key, kind of. Like you need to 100%. Know what they want out of the working relationship. And hopefully
I think that's a life lesson too, though, dude. Like anytime you can build a business that helps people, so you get paid to help people in some way, that's a win-win.
Yeah. That's my dream, really. Like the idea, like I said, I liked marketing earlier, and I've been spending a lot of time learning marketing and researching it, and like doing like these weird tests and like getting certified by like Google in Google Ads. But what I really like about marketing is the idea of being able to give value, and then through marketing kind of convey that I want to give value, convey that I want to help people, and like, but how do you convey that in a way that they actually are interested in being helped? Because I think a lot of people don't necessarily want to be helped or be given something positive. They more just want the next kind of like entertaining thing or distracting thing or etc.
Yeah, I think a lot of good marketing too, like a lot of the marketing challenges that I faced was from stuff that people didn't know they wanted or needed.
Yeah.
And that's always a challenge too, to introduce like, hey, do you have this problem? And like a lot of people didn't ever realize that was a problem that they had. And like I said, there's an ethical boundary to it where
Definitely.
you got to believe in the product 100%. If you don't believe in the product, if you don't believe the product is going to add value to someone's life, you should not be selling that shit.
My friend actually, like just today, told me that he quit his job because he didn't believe in the product that he was marketing because he was doing sales. And now he's starting his own marketing company, basically.
Good on him, dude. I wish I would have learned that lesson a long time ago.
Yeah.
Good.
And I personally, like, because I'm learning like all this marketing stuff, I want to get a marketing job next. And my goal isn't so much to work for a marketing company, but to work for a company that I like as in the role of like digital marketing. So I'll just do the digital marketing for like one specific company as a job, hopefully.
There's so much cool stuff to market. Like I remember, okay, there was a client that I worked with that I don't remember what the name was, but they had built this thing that it was like some kind of bio clean sewage treatment thing, where basically like the modern sewage industry. This is story time with Tim. Super informative about the sewage industry.
It's important.
Yeah, they just dump a bunch of chemicals in it. So they take all the waste and all the stuff, and they dump a bunch of chemicals and hope everything evens out, and then they treat the water, and then they like kind of pump it back into the whole system, which does not sound good, right? Like that sounds no.
That's some Simpsons level stuff. All the chemicals in the water.
So this company found some sort of like cell or some kind of bacteria that they put in these little chambers, and they just put it in the water, and it would clean the water. The bacteria would eat all of the waste and everything, and it would leave like pure, clear, crazy water. And it worked on a series of things. They even tried it on grease. Like they took some grease out of the back of a KFC. They put this thing in it, and it was like beautifully clean grease after like 30 days.
What did it do to it?
It ate all the shit. I don't know what it did, but I was just looking at this stuff like, oh my God, this is amazing. And you know what? Nobody would talk to them. Nobody would talk to them because they're like, nope, that's too good to be true. We need our chemicals. Damn. So I had to figure out like how do I reach these people? How do I convince these people that this is a life-changing technology? This is This is so different than what they're doing. But at the same time, like there's all these kinds of conflicts of interest, right? Like there's a dude that has a chemical company, and he's BFFs with the sewage person, and it's a major conflict of interest for him to do some bio clean, super awesome stuff with when he makes money off of the chemicals. But it's marketing's job to figure out like those inconsistencies. Like this is a better product all the way around. There's no byproducts. There's no chemicals. It's clean. It's the future. It's superior in every way. But people just don't know they want it, right?
They're still looking to be marketed.
Yeah,
because there's this big misconception that, like, I think one big reason why people are so against marketing is there's a misconception that you can just have an amazing product and it'll just do good on its own. But like what you just described is like it's just better, and it still needs marketing.
100%. Because you know what these people are looking for? The heads of these sewage plants, they're looking for the better chemical that's 0.5% better than what they use.
Yeah.
They are not looking for a radical change, biodegradable algae machine thing, right? So it's marketing's job to fill in those gaps and figure out how to find those people and inform them. And when people say marketing is unethical, like I understand what they mean, because they see these people like trainers hate him. Here's the 10 tips for top stuff to get a 6-pack ab by eating ice cream in 2 months.
Yeah.
And that shit is bad. But you shouldn't say that that's marketing. That's just like stupid human beings writing dumb shit.
Yeah. I mean, it's not marketing isn't a human being with like a moral or ethical compass. It's just a tool. and it can be used by people with bad intention or good intention, like most things.
Totally. Yeah, same thing with a YouTube channel, same thing with literally everything.
Like, I'm using my YouTube channel for evil, and you're using your YouTube channel for good. It's just the way it is.
I don't know about that. Have you seen some of my comment sections?
That's the commenters, and they're led by me, so.
Well, I'm glad I found somebody in charge of the comments. I needed to talk to you for a while.
It's good to meet you, Tim.
Yeah, it's good to meet you too. I think the whole marketing thing, like I wish marketing would get a better rap. I know it doesn't for that reason, because people just overdo it. But like, marketing is a beautiful skill to learn. Like, I was doing an interview the other day, and they asked me, they were like, Tim, if you could go back and change time, would you skip the whole marketing thing and just make games the whole time? And I was like, no, actually, I wouldn't. I talk about like having a 10-year hiatus from game dev, but I don't think that's a bad thing, because the marketing thing, the communication, the empathy, learning to understand another human being, it taught me how to communicate, right? I was a super shy introvert dude that didn't know how to talk. I would get social anxiety and shut down in any kind of social situation. Now my mouth is how I make money. Like, well, I should clarify that that's with talking.
Sure.
Yeah. And so YouTube and Twitch and all that, that's like, it's weird to go from an introvert that doesn't know how to talk in social situations to someone that like literally uses their communication to help people and make money. And marketing taught me that.
I had the same journey, minus the I don't make money with talking, but I was an introvert and I couldn't talk to anyone, and now I actually am able to kind of speak, sometimes.
Right.
And
you're very well spoken
stuff,
too.
So
like, I wouldn't have guessed that. And it's funny, you look at my comment section on YouTube too. They're like, Tim, how do I be like you? I'm not an extrovert like you. I'm like, hold up. You have no idea the 6 years I spent terrified of people. Like, you have no idea how much time I spent alone. You have no idea.
Yeah.
Right. This is all a journey. It's every skill set that everyone has been acquired over a series of events in their life. And to just assume that it's easier for someone just because they have the thing that you want is incorrect. Like, a lot of times, even like people are like, oh, whoa, you're great at art. Like, I do this too. Like, I'll look at artists like, oh, he's a natural.
But they practice every day.
Yeah.
They draw every day, if not like every hour for some of them.
Talent. It's practice. And the people that have like talent when they're 15, 16 years old, they've been practicing. That's just their hobby of doing it over and over and over again.
It's the same thing with like famous athletes who are also always, they're so talented, they are so lucky, etc. But you don't see like the daily grind, them showing up to the gym every day.
Yeah.
Like, we don't see all the work that goes into it. We just see it when they like reach success, which is why I think it's kind of interesting that now in the age of like YouTube, where people are basically everything's recorded now with social media. For some like new people that like up and coming that like actually reach success, we can kind of see their journey. So maybe that'll help with the like disassociative nature of only seeing someone when they're at the top. This way we can maybe see how they got there.
Yeah, no, totally. That's actually kind of been one of my goals with this whole YouTube thing is like, I just released a video with all my revenue from the whole game launch, everything. I shared all the numbers because nobody does that.
Yeah.
And I have years of documentation on YouTube of me working on this game, talking about this game, building up to it. And you literally got to watch me make it. You got to watch me build a trailer of it and market it and do all that. And now you get to see how much revenue I did. So hopefully that will help other people. And you can watch me and my journey from start to finish for, that'll be up on the internet forever.
Yeah. That's similar to my goals with my YouTube, just documenting the whole process. Because the whole art thing, like, I want to get better at art, because right now I'm terrible. But if I at some point am actually good at art, people can't say, oh, you're so talented. I can show them my like first video where I like drew a stick figure and like, ha.
Well, Phalophobia started with just cubes. Cube and heart were the only shapes in the game.
I saw that trailer.
And the art style's come a long way since I've just been practicing, right? I made 25 games while I made Phalophobia. I made 25 games while making a game.
And one of them had space goats in it, so.
Yeah, that shit cupcakes. That's very worthy of a mention.
I felt it
But
was.
it teaches you a few things, right? I still don't think my art is good, but it
Yeah.
it was weird to me that someone on launch day, I think it was in the comment section or something, they were like, Tim, I suck at art, how can I be a good artist like you? And I
Yeah.
was just like, what you're being sarcastic, right? Like, is this some kind of joke where you
Yeah.
like, because I'm just like, I look at that art and I'm like, oh my god, like I compare it to other people that are like
That's the
miles
funny
ahead.
thing too. Like, we don't realize how far we actually are. Like,
Yeah,
it's so hard to keep self-awareness. Like, I think I told you, I even showed your game/art to my art teacher because I'm studying game design right now, and they thought it was awesome too. Like, they didn't like question it. Like, what is
that's
this?
crazy to me.
Yeah.
That's insane that an art teacher would like. He's just like, okay, Justin, that's
Yeah.
yeah, it's cool. But yeah, like I think having this whole documentation thing on YouTube actually really really helps, because I can go back and I can look at videos. They make me cringe now, but seeing that journey, seeing how far I've come in a lot of ways, not just with art stuff, but like
Yeah.
with personal development and the way I hold myself and the camera shyness and the energy level and all that kind of thing. It's interesting to watch because I'm just me. Like I don't
Yeah.
really compare that to 2 years ago me. But when I have a direct video of 2 years ago me and how he thinks and what he does and what he says,
Gives
it's
you
it's a
perspective.
big difference. Yeah, it's a big difference. It does not seem like the same person to me at all.
Yeah, I understand. I have videos going much farther back than my channel shows. Like, I started YouTube, I think in 2016 question mark, and I started with like let's plays and stuff, which is why I removed it because I'm just not doing let's plays anymore. But the difference from now and then is also just insane.
That's one of my favorite hobbies, by the way. I haven't told anybody this. I go like to YouTubers that I like, and I like try and go all the way back to their videos and see the difference, especially if it's a couple years.
Yeah.
There's always a massive difference.
Yeah, I do
Like,
that too. Like, one of the first things I do when I check out a channel is I switch the uploads to oldest first.
that's great. There's so many YouTubers that I like love and respect, and they're awesome, and I'm like, I want to be them.
Yeah.
But then I go to their older videos, and I'm like, oh, this is horrible.
Yeah,
How
I'm
did they
already
ever?
better.
Yeah, like what's going on here? But it's a good exercise, and that's one of the great things about the internet too, is
Yeah.
it's got some good and bad qualities. Documenting everything forever, I'm sure it gets some people in trouble, but
Yep.
I think it's interesting as a species. If some alien race were to come down to Earth, they would have not only the entirety of knowledge known to man, but they would have like documentation of
Yep.
an entire species, thousands and thousands of hours of all kinds of stuff.
They would have too much information. They would be
It
like,
would
why do
be-
I need to know this?
Yes. Like, why do they take pictures of their food before they eat it? What
Yep.
kind of species is this? Yeah.
Oh.
So, but you know what? I think about like in the future, if I ever have kids or something like that, they're going
Yeah.
to be able to watch my entire history as a human being
Yep.
based on social media. I can't do it with my parents. Like, I can't see.
Yeah.
They have like 5 pictures from like a throwaway camera in the 80s, and that's my lens into their life. But for any descendants of Tim Ruswick, they're going to have an entire video archive.
Yeah, I've thought about that too. And I've heard some like pretty successful creators talk about that as well, how they wish they actually had more videos showing kind
Right.
of their journey so that they could show that history.
With my group of friends in high school, I got a video camera, and like I just wanted to film everything, all the dumb shit we did, all the
Yeah.
stupid things. Everybody got on me. Tim, stop filming. Tim, what are you doing? Stop it. Why do you always have that camera? What are you doing? And now they every time they come over, they're like, "Oh, bring up those videos. You got those? Can we see more of those?
Yeah.
Remember that one time when we did that thing? Do you have that video?"
Now they love the videos.
Yeah. I don't think you can record too much. I think you can stop dropping stuff while I'm talking, Justin.
I'm sorry. I'm a clumsy person.
At least it wasn't a big boom.
Yeah.
Maybe you blame it on the party upstairs.
It was the party, not me.
No, but I think like I don't think you can film too much. I think we talked about this a little bit before, like you can get addicted too much
Yep.
to the reactions of the things that you post on social media.
Yeah.
But I don't think the footage is too much. Like, I don't think recording stuff is bad.
In general just get addicted to things quite easily, and social media is kind of designed to get us addicted.
Yeah,
So it's definitely
literally they
dangerous.
hire psychologists and sociologists to work on
Yep.
this stuff. And they have data in mass of what keeps people longer, what makes people click. That's the dark side of marketing to me.
Yeah,
When everybody just becomes a number and everything gets modified to become an addictive system.
Yeah. When people stop living their lives, they start living through social media instead, through the validation.
Oh yeah, dude. I had to I deleted my Facebook account, and that was really hard to do, even though like literally it hadn't added any value to my life for years before that. It was just a bunch of stupid shit, angry people, dumb things I don't care about, but I would scroll through it every day.
Yep.
And I was just like, this is not adding value to my life. I didn't realize how much it was actively hurting my life until I deleted it, and I got happier. It's weird. It was a legit addiction. It took me a while to get over it, but once I did, like, I don't regret that at all.
Yeah, I understand. As I've also talked about with you before, I think I have a similarly troubling addiction to Netflix / just TV. Like concerning social media, something that I'm quite happy with is I have had all my notifications muted for a very long time, to where I don't even remember when I started.
That's awesome.
So I'd never, like, I can still get kind of caught in the loop of, oh, I want to see how many likes I get. But because I don't get notifications when I get likes, I don't get notifications when I get messaged, it's hard for me to get like fall into that loop.
Dude, being a slave to that notification sound is, you know what I've just started doing recently? And this is like, I kind of realized this probably like 6 months ago, and I've taken it very seriously ever since. I've realized that like my phone is an interruption machine.
Yeah.
Okay. No matter what I'm doing, any time of the day, when this thing dings, it interrupts me. And I realize that there are only very few things that I want to give permission to interrupt me. And that has to do with social media, that has to do with phone calls, that has to do with all kinds of stuff. And I realized that even with people, they're not going to like this because they don't know they're blocked. But I blocked several people just because they don't have the permission to interrupt me with dumb shit.
Yeah.
And if I tell you that and you keep doing it, you get blocked. That's just how it goes. Like for real, this thing, when this dings, this phone, it interrupts what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I need to be in control of my time. And if you are interrupting me with dumb shit that I don't care about, you get blocked. That's just how it is. And I've been doing that for a couple months, and it's really worked out. I also bought a phone with an actual hard mute switch, which I think is amazing.
That's cool. That's why I don't have notifications on my phone. I've actually, it's weird because I'm doing all this stuff on social media. I'm doing the Instagram, I'm doing the Facebook, YouTube, etc., and now this podcast. But I have pretty much always been against social media, like even since I was young. Like I've always been very
as you use it.
Against the system. Yes, as I use it. I've always been very against it. But because of that, I've never been much of a consumer of it. Like I use Facebook like a decent amount, but that's because I am in like mastermind groups on Facebook, and so I use it for that. And I use it to talk to like my family. But otherwise, like I'm not on there like scrolling through news. And I actually am not friends with a lot of people. Like I used to have a rule of like keeping under 100 friends on Facebook because I just didn't want like a large news feed.
Yeah, those are good rules to live by. I've realized that, like, look, social media isn't going away, and you can't avoid it completely, because then you just will. It just won't work out. Like, even like if employers now, when they hire people, they Google them. That's the first thing they do. They look on their Facebook. They do all that stuff. You need something, especially if you're going to be in some kind of industry where you have to sell stuff. Like I'm a game developer, right? I got to sell my games. For me to not be on social media is shooting myself in the foot. How are people going to know about my games? What like, how am I going to get that word out there without having some kind of presence online?
Send the pigeons out.
Let's see how many. Oh man, trying to sell a video game with pigeons. I got to do that test. But like for real. So what I've realized is, like, for me, my social media strategy isn't to be everywhere all the time. It's to pick the ones that I think are the most compatible with my lifestyle.
Yeah.
and use those and just be aware of the addiction, right?
Yeah.
Because like I've noticed like when I quit Facebook but I was still doing YouTube, I was making YouTube videos. Don't care about the likes no more because the likes don't exist, but that view count, that comment count, right? That subscriber count.
Yeah.
I really liked for a long time, like when I was super depressed, watching subscriber count go up after a little while kind of helped. But then I realized it was just as dangerous when it tanked one day.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh fuck, that made me feel worse than I was at a baseline. So like,
Yeah.
how healthy is this really to like concentrate on this so much? So
That's the problem with tying our ego and our self-worth to external things, because we don't have control of them. They can
100%.
I can't think of what I want to say. Feeb and flow, that's not a thing.
Well, it is now. Feeb and flow.
Yes.
But it's hard to separate your identity from your work, I think.
Yeah.
And it's I think I've done a good job at it, but I still struggle from it. Like,
Of course.
Dude, when I post a video, right, and I know what my intention is for the video, like, hey, I learned this thing, I want to share this thing with people, blah blah blah, and then I just get some shitty comment, or it gets posted on like some third-party website, that like Reddit or something like that, and people just destroy it. Like, that hurts me, like physically. It hurts me, and then not only that, but the snapshot of me, they don't know me, right?
Yeah,
but this snapshot of me then exists there, and then they make a series of snap judgments based on what could be. Some people have made the assumptions just based on the thumbnail without even actually watching the video. Like, they make a series of assumptions.
It's crazy.
Yeah. And then I've realized that, like, okay, that person, they're not talking shit about me. They're talking about the version of me that exists in their head that is entirely inaccurate.
Yep.
Right?
There's literally controversy these days started just based on the YouTube titles of videos. So they don't watch the videos, they don't watch the thumbnails, they literally see the title and write up an article of controversy based on the title.
Yeah. It's insane to me. That's why a lot of people are saying that, like, this whole click war that's going on with traditional media, because look, YouTubers and all them, we're taking clicks away from a lot of traditional press outlets, right?
Yep.
Nobody reads newspapers anymore. They're losing readers like crazy. Like, they're losing readers way faster than we're gaining them. So there's that. And then you have everybody moving online, but then also fighting for clicks with even more. Now they're fighting with regular blogs. They're fighting with influencers. They're fighting with all these people. So you have these like sensationalized headlines, which are misleading and in some cases flat out false.
Yep.
And even if the article itself paints a clear picture, which it almost never does.
Nope.
Most people never read the article. They read the headline.
Yeah.
And then so you get all of this exposure from this stupid, misleading headline. People believe this thing, and it becomes a fiasco. Like the whole thing with The Onion. If you don't know what The Onion is, it's like a news site. It's like fake news, basically, like on purpose, like funny news stories with funny titles. A lot of people, so many people, even on Facebook before I quit that shit, it was, people were like posting them like, do you believe what happened? And it was something like Jedi Master kills, like, do you do any research at all?
No.
Like, do you just post stuff and share stuff? And
yeah, that's one of the dangers of the internet. People just believe everything.
Yeah, and it can become a problem, like it did. We're not going to get all political here, but like, you take into account like elections and stuff like that, how they can be just derailed by a series of crazy articles. And then you take into account social media systems that are built on algorithms to share the stuff that people click on.
Yeah.
Like, it goes deep, man. You make a dumb article with a dumb headline that's designed to get clicks. It gets shared on social media. People click on it because it's designed to get clicks. The algorithm picks up on it, shares it to more people. They click on it. It's a whole vicious cycle. Nobody reads the article. Everybody only reads the headline. So now you have this mass version of population that believes something that's entirely incorrect because some dude wanted clicks.
Yep. And it causes a cycle of hate, because most of the time these articles aren't positive. So it just makes the level of hatred just in the air and between people just go way up. Which is the saddest thing for me. Like, it's gonna sound kind of corny, but like one of the biggest things for me is I just want to like spread positivity and kind of provide like a middle ground on things, because sometimes I'll talk about politics, not specifically on my YouTube, and it's not like a specific topic I want to address, and I don't necessarily take one side or the other. I just want people to see that like everyone is a person. Like we need to get along on like a basic level. We don't need World War III.
Right. John Oliver just did a segment on public shaming and how it's becoming a thing.
Yeah.
Like people are starting to use the internet as like this whole, just to hate on people and publicly shame them every time there's like a scandal. It's like, especially for like celebrities, man, a lot of these people are just making the normal everyday mistakes that a lot of humans do.
Yep.
But because they're in the spotlight, they just get publicly shamed to no end. He interviewed Monica Lewinsky, which, you know, that was really interesting too, because that was a whole situation where she did something, you know, and with someone of status, and to this day, she is the butt of so many jokes about so many different things. It's not so much relevant as it was anymore, but this is a person whose entire reputation, whose entire life was ruined by one event, publicly shaming people. And that's what social media, that was before social media. Social media facilitates the shit out of this.
Now it's just more extreme.
And you have direct lines of communication, all these people. It's not just the media outlet. It's the tweets and the Facebook posts and the emails and all that stuff. And I'm with you, man. I try and shred positivity as much as I can.
Gotta shred the guitar of positivity.
Look, I try and share that as much as I can, but like I said, like when I start paying attention to some of the stuff that people says, it doesn't matter. Like my biggest fear was always being seen as like the predatory marketer guy, right? Because that's like not my identity at all. I want to help people. I want to share as much knowledge as I have. I want to build a business around helping people, helping entrepreneurs, helping people do all this stuff.
Like, and to me, marketing is important for helping more people.
100%. If you don't know how to market, how are you going to help people? Like the more ability you have to get your message out, the more people that you can help. And it just, I still get these comments, and they don't bother me as much, but they still kind of bother me, you know, about like predatory marketer or exploiting people. Like, dude, I shared, hardly anybody in any industry shares how much revenue they make on a creative project, right? I decided to share all of my revenue for Philophobia, the game launch. I share it, and then I legit get people saying, oh, this guy, he makes money off of the video. You shouldn't support him. Like, okay, I make money by helping people, sharing things that nobody else is sharing. You're correct. The statement you made is factually correct. But your solution to that statement is to boycott me? What? To make sure I don't make money at all? Because I'm helping people?
How dare you help people?
Like where does that come from? I don't understand.
There's just this weird idea that some people have, which is definitely not everyone, that if you can't help people and get things, you can't get anything. You can only help people. You have to be completely selfless. But that's not sustainable. Like you have to be able to help yourself, or you can't help other people.
Well, you know what's crazy is I spent, like, I told you I was an introvert, right? I was a super shy guy. A lot of my social anxiety was from not understanding how to communicate, wanting to help, and then helping so much that I was being taken advantage of and not being able to communicate how much I was being taken advantage of. So I just felt super frustrated, and then I would feel hateful towards these people that, oh, they took advantage of me. But really, I was like, yeah, can I help that? Can I build your free website? Can I do this? Can I do that? And like, it was just me not knowing how to communicate that I was giving too much. Right. And over the course of my life, I've learned that like, I don't have to give so much of me that it damages me. That's not okay. As a matter of fact, when I started my YouTube channel, that's all it is. It's just informational videos over and over and over again. I didn't monetize till like past 10,000 subscribers. I didn't start a Patreon till well after that. I didn't ask for anything. And I've realized in the last couple of years that like you have to sometimes, and there's an even trade that you can give. And I always try and give more than I take, 100%. Like I always try and give out way more. I look at it as like karma currency, right? Every time I do something for other people, I got money in the bank. Every time I ask for something, I take that money out. And I always try and keep a positive balance there.
Yeah, and
Always.
in the long term, like people have to realize that if you don't take and like get something yourself and receive, then you will end up giving less. You will end up helping less.
Yeah.
By
Well, you have less capacity.
Yeah, of course. And it's because it's less sustainable, it'll go over a shorter period of time. You'll help over a shorter period of time, and as a result of that, you'll help less people, so you'll be less effective.
Yeah. And I've kind of taken that to heart as like, okay, for me to help the people on the scale that I want to help, I need to make money. I need to sustain myself. I need to do this for a living, right? So I can spend full time doing it. But then on top of that, I need to go beyond that. I need to make more money than it takes for me to just live on, because then I need to pay people to help do the things that I can't do, or the things that I'm not effective at, or to build the tools that I think need to be built, or all these different things, so that I can add more value to all people. And I don't see there's like and we talked about marketing and ethical marketing. There's like a subset of people that think that every time you're selling something, you're being shady.
Yeah.
Like no matter what. And I don't get that either. Like I understand where that comes from, because they probably been sold some shit by shady people. There's definitely shady people in every industry. There's shady people in game dev. There's shady people in all kinds of stuff.
I think it's also just a lack of like understanding of how things actually work. It's like idealism almost. It's this ideal that you don't have to get anything. You don't need money. You can just kind of live off of dreams and constantly share and help everyone and cure poverty.
It's funny you mentioned that. I see that. I think it's on both spectrums. I think it's the idealism spectrum that, we should be able to all just hold hands and spread the love. And we don't, every time you take something, you're just hurting the environment. But I also think there's pessimism.
Definitely.
Like there are some people that are just like, that dude has more than me, and so he's stupid because he has more than me. I hate to say this, but my dad is really like that. He like demonizes the shit out of rich people.
Yeah.
I hear the way he talks. He's like, oh, that motherfucker makes millions or billions, and they're probably this and that and this and that. No, dude, first of all, you don't know anything about them.
Yeah.
Right. But second of all, just because they've mastered the art of gaining currency doesn't mean anything about them. And second of all, the more resources you have, the more you can help people. So if you are in a business that's based on helping people, the better you do, the better they do.
Yeah, it's collaborative. If you win, everybody wins.
Yeah, I really wish people would see that. Like I believe that same thing with competition too. Like I talk to a lot of the YouTubers in my space, and we exchange ideas, and I tell them my most performing videos, and you know what I mean? Like we talk like that because I believe that I'm not competing with them.
Yeah.
I believe that we can coexist. I believe that there's enough people in the world for both of us to make similar content and still get views. And on top of that, I believe in myself enough to know that what I bring to the table is different than what other people bring to the table.
Yeah. Right? Everyone's unique. You can't replace someone's content just by doing something similar.
No, and I've seen a lot of people try, and it just comes off as like this soulless, weird attempt. I've even tried to copy other people's content. Like I've made some Mark Brown type of videos. I've made just experimenting and stuff. And like I realized like, yo, I could never be a better Mark Brown than Mark Brown.
Yeah.
Right? Never do it. But I can be the best Tim Ruswick there ever was.
Everybody else is taken. We can only be ourselves.
Exactly. And I wish more people would see that, like especially with creativity, right? Like the first thing a lot of people do is they're like, oh, well, I want to make a bunch of money in video games, so I'm going to clone Flappy Bird.
My Flappy Bird 2000 did so well, though, Tim.
I understand the thinking in that, but in reality, you're putting the value on the thing when the value is on the behind the thing.
Yep. And trend chasing almost never works. Like, it's trendsetters are the ones who make the money. All the people that follow after, no.
By the time you identify a trend, it's usually too late.
Especially with game making, it takes so long to make a game.
Oh yeah, man, totally.
And comes out like 10 years after relevance.
Well, we talked about Phallophobia, right? I made a platformer. I took 4 years to make a platform. Yeah. Okay. You say that, you're gonna get laughed out of every game dev room in the industry. And I laugh at myself for that. Like that was, if I talked to somebody on my channel and they said it took them 4 years to make a platform, I'd be like, yo, dude, what are you doing? What are you doing? No. But going through that journey personally was a little bit different, right? And on top of that, like I I learned to pour me into that game. And I think that's one of the reasons why the game did as well as it did. It's not just a generic platformer. You don't run and jump and collect coins and shit.
Yeah.
This is a game where love is literal hell. Enemies are hearts. The demon bosses are based on the 5 stages of grief. It's got suicidal undertones and deep dark thoughts, and it's about this dude that works his way through hell. His life is hell, and he's learning to deal with grief, right? Someone asked me in a live stream once, they were like, Tim, what if we copied your mechanics for Fathophobia, or would you be mad? And I was like, no. You can't take the piece of me that's in that game.
Yeah.
You can't copy that. You can copy all the mechanics, and you can copy all the sprites, and you can copy all the stuff, but you can't take me out of that game. And if you're copying everything that I do, you're always a step behind me.
Yep. You can't take the heart out of Philophobia.
There are way too many of them.
Exactly.
Way too many.
Literally everything is hearts. Even if it doesn't look like a heart, it's a heart.
That was hard to do, but I made it happen.
Yep.
Building a spider and a snake out of 100% hard shapes was
Do you
rough.
think you want to continue to be that personal with games? Maybe not as negative, but more positive, but still give kind of your own personal touch?
I don't want to go nearly that emotional with games in the near future. So there was a couple issues that came up with that. Like, one, it's based on a deep, dark breakup. It's based on suicidal thoughts. It's based on one of the darkest times of my life, because it wasn't just about the breakup either. I felt like my life was hell. I felt like that. There are a lot of religious undertones and stuff, because I went through a lot of stuff like that too. There's so many levels, like stuff that I'm probably not even ready to talk about that's in the game that nobody will ever know about. And then so you take that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Fast forward 4 years, and you have a dude that's relatively happy with his life, who loves his community, who's like excited to make video games, but every day he's got to work on this deep, dark, emotional thing from a dark point in his past, right? That's rough to do.
That's why I said it doesn't have to be negative, because personal doesn't have to mean that it's deep and dark and depressing. You could now do a personal, happy-go-lucky, excited game.
Right. And that's exactly what I'm going to do, I think, too.
Party 2000.
I used to think that there was no value in entertainment or humor or things like that. I used to put all of the value on like this really like artistic type of like pour your heart and soul into this project. But I realized live streaming and becoming a YouTube personality and all this, that like there is value in the entertainment. There's value in the humor. There's value in making somebody happy. And if I make a game about Space Ghost shitting cupcakes, or an invasion of a gnome army and that is just as artistic, just as personal as Fathophobia is, but it's in a different way.
It just has different use, different audience.
Right.
Like when I've gone through depression myself a decent amount. I'm technically still depressed, because it's not a state, it's just something you kind of have. But something that really helped me was actually kind of just immersing myself in positive media. Just immersing myself in comedies, in rom-coms, in like cutting out all the like negative songs that I was listening to, like literally switching to, I made a playlist called Positive, and I found every positive song I could, and that was all I could listen to.
There you go.
So the positive media does have value. It can like help someone to shift their mindset and be just happier in life.
No, and I agree, and I didn't see that before, right? Like I thought that you had to be serious to be taken serious. And I realize now that like, one, as a marketing strategy, the positivity probably will go over better than the negativity. Because I actually had people message me and say, hey, you know, I would have bought your game. I wanted to support you, but like you have a game about love being hell, and I don't know if I tell my wife that I bought a game where, you know what I mean? Like it's so dark. It's got suicide in it. It's got hell in it. And people that are generally happy in their life or their relationship look at that game like, yo, what is wrong with this guy? He's, you know, a screw's loose with this dude. But on the flip side, I've had a lot of people that messaged me that said, hey Tim, I was suicidal. I was depressed. I went through a breakup. I lost somebody, and your game helped somehow. And that's fucking, I try, and every one of those I get, I try and like really understand that a human being going through pain, it not only experienced what I created, but they took the time to tell me that.
Yeah.
And that's great. And I think it is what it is, and it helped people, and that's awesome. But for future projects, for sure, at least for the next one, maybe I'll just do the loop of these, but it's going to be more positive and happier and go lucky, and probably have something to do with space goats or space gnomes.
Space goats. I look forward to it.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be fun. I wish more people would like explore the crazy untainted side of their creativity. Like, so much of us, we just like, I used to do this too, like just come up with an idea and then immediately rein ourselves in. That's not realistic. People won't like that. That won't work. That's too technically hard. Like, immediately you shut down any kind of creativity.
Yeah.
And the best games that I've made have come from a collaborative process on a timeline where you don't got time to even judge an idea. You just got to do it.
You don't get to decide whether or not to do it. Yeah. I've experimented a lot with that, actually. Like, I come from a background of first just enjoying writing. And one of the things I did, I think I told you this, is I used a program called Write or Die. And if you stop writing in that program, like, you have to keep typing and writing, then it starts deleting your stuff. So you have to keep writing. Otherwise, it deletes everything.
I wonder if you could adapt that to coding.
Yeah, so it's pretty intense, and it forced me to, whenever I basically set a timer every day to write 60 minutes like that, and I came up with so many weird stories as a result, because I couldn't think about what I was thinking or writing.
Right.
The ideas just came out.
That sounds like an amazing exercise.
Yeah, it was really good.
I might have to, writeordie.com or...
I think they have a website as well, yeah.
I'm going to have to check that out.
Yeah, it's cool. And then in games now, with all the game, I mostly did game jam games, actually. Like, so I always kind of have like a time limit. And then long term, my goal is mostly to have like a 6-month development cycle where, again, it's like you have a limited amount of time, so you can't overthink your ideas. You have to kind of just be creative and let the idea happen.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm hoping for to do. I probably would aim for like 3 months myself.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be an interesting experiment, because like, can you release a game every 3 months or every 6 months or whatever?
Yeah.
And consistently be profitable? Like, immediately my brain goes to like, Tim, nobody's going to take a game that you made in 6 months as serious as a game that took you 4 years.
Yeah.
And my brain starts coming up with ideas on why I shouldn't do it. But that's immediately when I'm like, nope, brain, shut up. We're doing this. We're going to try this. We're going to see how it works. And if I can pour a little bit of just like I poured my deep, darkest feelings into Phytophobia, if I can pour a little of my happy-go-lucky, let's try some dumb shit because it'll make somebody laugh with a dick joke or a fart joke.
Space goats, Tim.
Yeah, exactly. It's got everything there. If we can pull that off and do a similar dollar amount to Phytophobia every 3 months, that's a livable wage right there. And that's, not only can I live on game dev income at that point in time, but I can show everybody else that says it's not possible that it is.
And you'd be showing a very different way, which I think would be cool.
Yeah. Well, because I was talking about this with John Simons the other day, because I did an interview for the Simple Programmer thing. And there was a point where I was like, okay, I sold my company. I drove across country because I just took a road trip that was like 2 months long. I did couch surfing. I just stayed on people's couches, just meeting people. I had a breakdown in a Starbucks parking lot, realizing that I just sold everything that I worked 5 years for, and I didn't have it at all. And I completely left everything that I owned. And now I was in a car in the middle of like Roswell, New Mexico, at some dude's house that I didn't know. And I was just like, whoa, yeah. And then I realized that, like, okay, I want to make games.
Yeah.
Right. And I knew that games were going to be harder to sell than like a product. I could have come up with a startup idea. I could have come up with even a product line or something. Because like, even though, like, look, I've done some shitty marketing for supplements, right? But there's always a need for supplement. People always want to lose weight. People always want to bulk up. People always want to do that. When you solve a problem with a traditional product, it's easy. But when you have entertainment, it gets weird.
Yep.
Because there's a constant demand for entertainment, but then the type of entertainment that works is always changing, and it's weird. And you either gotta like find something that works, or just kind of invent something that works, or discover something that works, which is another reason why I believe in like quantity over quality, just because it's easier to discover than to design, right?
Yeah, and you can iterate as well if you keep just making things.
Totally. You can like just make a bunch of things. One of them works better. Try something new on that. but like I realized that like I wanted to make games for a living, so I was like, okay, how do I do this? Not do I do this, not can I do this? How do I do this? So I was like, all right, well, what strengths do I have? Well, I have some marketing experience. How can I build an audience and ensure that my games are successful, not just cross my fingers and hope when I make a game, right? Well, I can use my marketing videos to help out game developers, and that's what I started doing. And I was terrified to post a video about marketing to game developers without ever having made any games, right? And sure enough, my worst fears came true. Who is this guy? Why is he making videos about games? Because he's never made a game. Why is he talking about game marketing? What games has he marketed? How many games has he sold? Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And it, that was like my worst fear, and it came true. But I did it, and I kept doing it, and I've shared everything on my journey along the way, and I've managed to create an income not only with just the video stuff, but on top of that, ensuring that I will get eyeballs on everything that I release over and over again, because I added that how to the front of, can I do this?
Yeah.
Right.
I'm curious how. So you talk about how you used to be introverted. You talk about how you like have that past and how you've grown from there.
Right.
And I have a similar-ish past as well and journey. I'm curious on the specifics of how you started to kind of get into that world of like you're backpacking all of a sudden. You started a company. You're now pushing yourself on a diet. Like, how did you get into like this self-development-ish world?
Oh, I wish I could give you the plan.
The plan?
The plan and the strategy, but there was no strategy. It was just like, holy shit, what do I do next? And just a series of weird decisions. But I would say that like, so being introverted, right? I spent a lot of time alone. Anytime you spend a lot of time alone, I think you, at least if you don't distract yourself, like with a bunch of entertainment all the time, you start to self-reflect. You start to just spend a lot of time in your head. And I always did that. And I always, this is going to sound weird too, but like I was always a fat kid, right? So I had learned to believe that I was somehow a second-rate human being because I was fat. I got made fun of for being fat. I got bullied because I was fat. And so I had like this belief. I wasn't aware of it at the time, but I just had this belief that I am physically inferior to other human beings.
Yeah.
Right. So the way my brain handled all that was, well, I'm physically inferior, but I'm mentally superior. So I'm going to do everything I can to improve the shit out of my brain because I'm the fat kid. Right. And there's the value. They may be better at running than me, but I'm better at thinking than them. So that's how it started. And then I just kind of realized like, oh, well, I was trying to build confidence. What I actually built was a stupid ego. Yeah. I just thought I was better than everyone else. And it was like my own defense mechanism of just saying like, oh, well, they're shitty people. They may be skinny, but they're probably dumb, right? That guy that got six-pack abs, he's a meathead. He spends all his day in the gym. He doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about, right? Just started doing the same thing they're doing to me, or I thought they were doing to me, but just in a different way.
Yeah, I had a similar complex to that. Like the gym thing especially. Like for the longest time, I just had this thing against going to the gym. Like it was like this, I had this idea in my head of just like all these guys looking at themselves in the mirror and like, I'm better than that. I'm not like all pretentious and like.
Yeah. And it's funny how like the things that we demonize, we usually end up going so far on the other side of the spectrum, right? We end up being way too deep in the opposite end. Yeah. Like I'm not going to go to the gym out of principle, so I'm not going to be healthy and do healthy things, right? Because all the people that go to the gym are this certain type of person and not that person.
Yeah, and I think what it comes down to is you mentioned ego before, and I think what ego is us not accepting ourselves fully. It's focusing on one part and then aggrandizing that part because we're not accepting the rest of us. So the reason why we shouldn't have ego isn't because it's hurting others, it's because we're hurting ourselves. We're not accepting ourselves fully, and you'll never be like truly at peace and happy if you're not accepting yourself.
Dropped a knowledge bomb on me. I agree with that 100%. I think ego is like a defense mechanism for an inferiority complex most of the time, because that's what it was for me. Yeah. Like I started to choose to believe that I was better because I felt like I wasn't. Yep. And I could not handle the fact that someone else was better than me, so I chose to believe that I was better than them. And in reality, I learned that like, we can all be humans. Yeah. We can all be equals. right? We can be dudes on a screen with different stats. It doesn't mean that the pilot is more valuable than the engineer. You need them both if you're going to run a spaceship or something,
Yeah,
right?
how else will
Like,
we get to Mars, damn it?
yeah, exactly. I don't know where that came from, but yeah, but yeah, like, so like if you learn to just value human beings for being human, just
Yep,
this person is valuable because they exist.
exactly.
That's it. They're
That
just valuable because they exist.
that
You gotta learn that
was
about yourself too.
Yeah, that was one of my first lessons. Like when I was, because I was super insecure, and one of the first things I read was like an article that talked about self worth, and the idea that why is a baby inherently valuable but you're not? Because you were a
Right.
baby and you've lived a life, you've gained knowledge, you've gained things. Not that babies aren't amazing, but you are inherently valuable simply
Yeah.
because, yeah,
It's a big ethical problem now with self-driving cars and stuff because these things have to be programmed, and there's a big thing going around about how if it's a computer, right? You have to give it an if then statement.
yeah,
So if it's driving along at 80 miles an hour and it's going to hit one of two people, one of them is an 80-year-old person, one of them is a 22-year-old kid.
yeah,
What do you program that computer to do? Right? Because it has to make a decision. There's an ethical dilemma there.
yeah. That's crazy.
Both ethically, both of those are horrible things to do, but you have to make a decision between one of them, right?
Yeah.
Like how do you do it? So that's just a interesting little thing, interesting little tangent that I read about the whole
It's like
ethics
the
of like
old
self-driving
philosophical
machines.
questions like
Yeah,
coming up into we actually have to answer it now because we need to code
right,
it into an AI.
right. Like the trolley problem and all that.
Yep.
Um, it's so anyway. Back to what we were talking about. You asked me like how I dealt with all that. So I think it started out as ego, and then I started looking into self improvement, and then the self improvement stuff, the Tony Robbins stuff. I read a bunch of stuff, all kinds of stuff.
So Tony Robbins was a big one for you?
Yeah, there's this guy named David D'Angelo too.
Oh, I know him.
Yeah, so he wrote a dating book, right? Because
Yep, I know.
I was trying to learn how to pick up chicks back in the day too, and I bought his dating book
Hmm.
because it was like double your dating or something like that.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, I'm gonna get okay.
I'm way too
And then
aware of all the dating stuff.
so check this out. So then his entire book is basically how to get self confidence.
Yep.
It's like a bait and switch for like with the real problem, right?
Yeah.
You can't you can't pick up chicks if you don't have confidence.
Uh,
So that actually changed my life because, like I said, from a marketing perspective, one, because what this guy sold me,
hmm.
he delivered what I actually needed, but what he sold me was how to double my dating,
Yep.
right? So that blew my mind from a marketing perspective because I was like, wow, his marketing understood me and understood what I wanted, but then it delivered on what I actually needed.
Yeah.
So that blew my mind. But then on top of that, like I was like, wow, okay, so I've got self-worth issues.
Yeah.
I have issues with how I see myself. Why do I have a problem with dating? Because I don't believe that these females should date me.
Yep.
That was a belief. I don't think they should because I'm garbage as a human being. So I have problems communicating my value
Yeah.
because I believe I have no value.
Dude, you're
Right?
blowing my mind right now because like legitimately kind of started in the same way. Like it was a dating person, not a like self-help person. Like I wanted to find out how to like do better with women, and because I was
Right.
super insecure, puberty hit and I was like, shit, what am I going to do? I'm terrible. And they marketed it as get more women or whatever.
Right.
But instead it was just this whole thing about how you have to better yourself. It's not even about like them. It's just about you. You have to like value yourself, have self-worth. And it put me down like this huge rabbit hole of just self-development. And that's like how
And
I
I
built
went
my
the same
confidence.
journey, man. And so that's one of the things that I love about marketing too, is because like you look at a lot of these dating coaches too, and a lot of them go overboard. Right? Like
Yeah, definitely.
females hate him. How he swipes right on 10 chicks a day on Tinder and gets
Yeah.
all the bitches or whatever the fuck they say in the
Yeah.
headlines. But those are stupid. And those are, for a
Yeah, of
variety of
course.
reasons. But there's a series of people that are like doing something similar to that. They're saying, hey, here's what you need. And they're legitimately helping people. David D'Angelo, his real name is Evan Pagan, by the way. I don't know if you know that.
I know that, yeah.
Okay, so you know.
The person
He's-
that I followed basically was mentored by Evan Pagan. And his name
okay.
is Owen Cook.
Okay.
And he was his like main mentoree.
You're on the next generation of the
Yep.
the whole double your dating thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then when I found out Evan Pagan was a marketer, that just blew my mind even more because I was, So he knows what he's doing. He's not some dating coach. He's like,
Yeah.
he legitimately knew this whole time. Okay, so anyway, that got me really excited for marketing and all that, but it also legitimately changed my life. I paid $20 for an ebook about how to get more dates, and I ended up with a lifetime of knowledge and understanding that I'm valuable as a person, and that I have to take care of myself
Yeah.
in a way to attract other people into my life. And now with the whole diet and exercise thing, I took that varying degrees of successful. Like it's really, that's a whole nother thing, is like my identity was a fat kid. So
Hmm.
every time I tried to get in the gym or I tried to diet or something like that, I was fighting my identity,
Yeah.
right? I'm a fat kid. I don't belong in the gym. I should not be I'm fat. I eat that. This is who I am, right? So I had to fight all of that. That took a long time. And it really, to be honest, the whole diet thing, I've been on a diet for about 5 months, taking it
Hmm.
seriously. Lost 72 pounds in that
That's
time.
awesome.
It's insane. It changed my life. And if I could just give, 15-year-old Tim a snapshot of what it feels like to be 30-year-old Tim with this energy level, without carrying around like what is essentially like a midget human being on my back or my stomach the whole time, I would like instantly do it. I never understood what this felt like,
Yeah.
to be happy and have my mood elevated and to eat right and to like good food that's good for me and to be excited to wake up every day, just not only from like the diet perspective because I feel like I'm taking care of myself, but also
Hmm.
from the influencer perspective. Like I have people that rely on me and I have to be a role model and example for people. So I gotta hashtag finish it, right?
Yeah.
I gotta launch my game. I gotta show up every day for live streams and all those things. I don't have a choice because I have people that like are relying on me for this now. It's like a sense of responsibility
Yeah.
that comes with everything that I built. So I would say that probably had the biggest impact out of anything in my life, the whole journey.
Yeah. From It's crazy, like what the journey, which is a pretty esoteric term, um, how much you can go through and how much of a mindset shift you can have.
Yeah.
Like even, and also that we both like started with like a dating coach. Like, but one of the main takeaways and mindset shifts I had was actually just I love people now. Like I used to be
Right.
so me against the world, and now I love people. I love women. I love men. Like I just love people. Like I appreciate human beings.
Yeah. It's crazy because the majority of my life I consider myself an introvert that didn't like people and like my alone time, right?
Yeah.
But I found that almost in a way that was a defense mechanism from the person that I always wanted to be but didn't think I could.
Yeah.
I used to have dreams and visions of like me being on a stage helping people, right? And I
Yeah.
always wanted that, but then I immediately tell myself, no, you're an introvert. You don't really want that, right?
Yeah.
Like you're the quiet dude. You should just learn to, I don't know, learn some mental shit. And then I realize kind of now that that like literally it's my job to provide value on YouTube. And then I get on a live stream and I entertain, 50 people for a couple hours while I'm doing something creative. And I realize how much I like it and how
Yeah.
much I enjoy adding value to people's lives. It's like 22-year-old me who was scared of the world. That doesn't even make sense to me. That doesn't even seem like me.
Yeah.
Like, why would you be so afraid of this? This is what you were like born or destined to do.
That's the crazy thing about identity. Like
Yeah.
it's so powerful. Like I myself have been like trying to refine my health and go to the gym, work out, etc. And last year I had like this crazy incident where I was first like focused on losing weight and getting my fat percentage down. And I went and got like a body scan and they gave me my exact like body fat percentage, and it was literally as good as possible basically. If I had any lower, it would have been unhealthy. So it was amazing news. And the first thing I did was I bought a bunch of junk food and I ate all of it at once. I was completely self-sabotaging because I have this identity of being skinny, but not like nothing more than
Yeah.
skinny. Not like muscular, not like super skinny, like just incredibly average. And anything less than that, I immediately want to just binge.
Right. Right. It's you have to be aware of who you think you are.
Yep.
And a lot of times it's not immediately obvious, especially if you don't do a lot of self-reflection or meditation or spend a lot of time alone. And
I'm
a lot of people
constantly
don't.
like, such an iterative process. Like even today, I
Yeah.
had like a realization that I have a weird cycle where I almost am fueled off of pain because I came from that background of like when I started, I was completely driven by just I want to feel better. I'm tired of this like shitty feeling, and I use that pain as motivation. But I feel like I'm almost now caught in the cycle of I use the pain to be motivated, do really well, but then once I'm doing well, I'm like, shit, how can I be motivated? And then I self sabotage and like make sure that I'm feeling bad again. And then I go
Right.
back to using that pain, and it's just endless.
Yeah. That's what I did the majority of my life with my weight. I would go between like 280, 287 was like the lowest that I ever made it to,
Yeah.
besides the last couple months. And then like 320, and I would just go back and forth. So I'd get to 320, I'd be like, oh, I'm fat. I really need to do something about this, blah, 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 blah. I would start working out. I would start getting to the gym. I would watch what I eat. I would get down to like 290, 287, and then there was like a stall there for some reason with my body. And then I would just like work out for a couple months and just like, oh, it's not working. It's not working. It's not working. And then realize, well, this isn't really me anyway. I'm designed to be a fat dude. Like this is not for me. And then slowly creep back to whole lifestyle habits and then go back up to 320. And this last time I went up to 330. 330 pounds, which is fucking heavy for, that was the heaviest I've ever been in my adult life, I think.
Shit.
And yeah, and I realized that like, and that was right around the time I posted a video about my depression. I was just like not happy with life. I had to get up every day to work on a game that was so dark and deep, and I just didn't have the energy to do that. And then, I just got like, and then I realized that like other people felt that way too. Like, you know who John Somers is?
I do not.
He runs Bulldog Mindset and Simple Programmer. It's like a huge YouTube channel. It's like 200,000 subscribers.
All right.
He's a self-made millionaire. He's a YouTuber. He inspired me a lot because he does the same kind of videos that I do, like just kind of talking to the camera. And he is super in shape. And I remember thinking like, that dude doesn't know what it's like. That dude, he's got six-pack abs. There's no way he knows what it's like. And then one day I was scrolling through his videos and I found a video of him used to be fat. And I was like, whoa, holy shit. And then that kind of led the whole thing of like, okay, well, maybe I should listen to him. And then I interviewed him. And then a couple months later is when I posted the super depression video, and he commented on it. And he made a video about how he was depressed.
Shit.
And he shared my video in his video saying about how I had the courage to talk about it and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And that just blew my mind, because I was like, when you have an identity as a fat kid and you're super depressed, like that's just that it's part of your whole shtick.
Yeah.
Right. So then to hear from somebody that has everything I want, right? He has the body, he has the followers, he has the money, he has all the stuff that I want.
Yeah.
And he's depressed. I was like, whoa, there's other human beings that feel the same way I do. And for me to like blame my weight or my inability to stick to something or my lack of self-discipline or whatever is inaccurate. Like, one, these things can just happen.
Yep.
But two, I can get rid of all those things and still feel that.
Yeah. You
And
can have
so
everything
that made
you
me
want
wanna-
and still feel terrible.
Yeah. And that made me really want to work on it. And so like the whole discipline thing, I did the Finish Friday thing where I finished 8 games in 8 weeks. I completed or deleted on stream. I started finishing projects left and right. Everything that I started, I made a rule. I had to finish it. I launched Philophobia, right? I worked every day, 6 days a week, 6 hours a day, live on stream for the last couple months, finishing that game. I realized that I had developed by sharing with other people that this philosophy of like finish it and self-discipline, right?
Yeah.
I had developed it myself. I had acquired it by trying to promote it.
Yeah.
Right. Like I kind of stepped into this role of this person. And then I realized, like, when I ended up with a toothache, and I had been researching like a keto diet for a while and like how all that could work. And then I couldn't eat for 3 days, and I was like, oh, rather than just be like, holy shit, I can't eat for 3 days. My brain was like, well, that's a perfect time to start keto, start a diet. Right.
Yeah.
And I've realized ever since that like it has not been hard for me to stick to this at all, because I acquired the self-discipline that I needed by promoting it to other people and being a role model and being responsible for other people. Like, I feel like my audience and my YouTube channel and all that stuff is like not like my children, but kind of like my children, or like my nieces and nephews, or like little people that like look up to me.
Yeah.
And they're gonna get mad I call them little people. But you know what I mean? Like, I feel a responsibility now to do that, and especially now that I'm this far, like, weight
I definitely
loss.
understand. And it ties back around to what we were talking about earlier, where by helping yourself, you can better help others. And it ties directly into this, because if you do better, then you're setting an example for other people.
100%.
Which is
And
also
I didn't
like
realize. Go ahead.
it's also like a crazy kind of thing about that misconception, is that, do you really want help from someone who's not doing well themselves?
Yeah. And it's just, it goes to show that, like, you know, even I had to confront my whole self-esteem and self-confidence issue recently too, because, you know, I've been doing this diet. I've been sticking to it for 5 months. People are watching me on live streams. They're watching me drop weight.
Yeah.
Right. They're seeing an energy difference in YouTube. And a couple people have told me, like, hey, I started a diet. Hey, I started your diet. I tried what you do. What do you eat? I tried that. And like, it made me kind of realize, like, okay, shit, I have more influence than I even thought I did. Like, these people are literally making life changes just by watching me do this.
Yeah.
Right. Which kind of blew my mind. But then too, like, that hammers it home even more. Now these people are doing this stuff because I do it. I can't backtrack now. Like, I'm in it to win it, you know? Like,
You're in deep now.
Yeah, like, I don't got a choice at this point. And I think that sense of urgency and that, like, identity change of fat kid who's not worth shit to role model for, well, I wouldn't call myself a role model, but trying to be the person that I want to be, can have a lot of positive effects and influence on other people. And because people pick up on the things I do and they may copy my behavior or they may look up to me in that way, I have a responsibility to the world to be the best human being that I can.
Yeah. I personally feel that responsibility. Not just, I don't have a following yet, really. Like, I have a couple people who follow me and I appreciate them 100%. But I already feel that sense of responsibility to my family, to my friends, just the people I care about. Because I have never really thought that I could change them by talking about things, you know? But just by doing things and like acting in a certain way, and I can inspire them to do better themselves. Like, my parents might watch this, they might not, but I know that, like, when I've gone on multiple health binges and like go exercising a bunch, and I know for a fact that my mom has told me, like, I started exercising, I started eating healthy because of you, which is like, it blows my mind.
Yeah. It's crazy. Like, my brother's a personal trainer and a nutritionist, and when he got really into all that stuff, immediately the first thing he wanted to do was share it with me and my family, and we're just like, yo, dude, just because you're skinny and you're muscly, I'm a fat dude. That stuff doesn't work for me. Yeah. And it was just like, kind of told him to shut up. But he's lived like that for 10 or 15 years. And I've seen the fun that he has. I've seen the energy that he has. I've seen all this stuff. And so to say that didn't have a huge impact on my decision would be a lie, because it just watching him exist and live the way that he lives and being happy with it showed me that it was possible. And it inspired me in a way to kind of make my own change.
Yeah, lead by example instead of micromanaging.
Yeah, that brings it full circle.
Yeah, and I think we've talked for a while now. I hope the listeners or viewers have enjoyed. I've really enjoyed having you on the podcast. If there's anything else you want to say, you can say it.
Thanks for having me. If anybody's interested in finding more about me, you can search Game Dev Underground on YouTube, or at Tim Ruswick on Twitter.
Yeah, definitely follow him, guys. If you aren't already, check out his YouTube. It's awesome. As he said, it's Game Dev Underground. And if you enjoyed this, then follow this or subscribe to this, or depending on the platform, really, because this is going up everywhere. Thanks for listening, guys. Bye.
See ya.